kind of crazy that with the right piece of music, how teary-eyed you can get over a little CGI blob. Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Kevin, I am a geek, you are watching Kevin the Geek, and it is time for another Torchwood Tuesday. It is time for another review of Torchwood. This is the second season, it is episode number 4, and we are talking about meat. And it was quite apt really, that for an episode that was focusing on how disgusting some meat can be, that I sat down for this having a snack of fried kale leaves, making them in sort of crisps. That was a very unintentional thing there, but I thought it was quite apt actually for this episode. But the biggest thing with this episode is we've finally let Rhys find out about Torchwood, and he finally knows what the hell is going on. But that's not what I'm going to start with. I will obviously come to that, because that's going to take up, I think, the bulk of this review. I want to start with a couple of the little things. Yanto. Yanto has a lot more to do in this one, and he's really becoming part of the core field team, which I really like. It's obviously been suggested that a number of times in the second season, and this is where he's really a core component of the field operative team. The one moment that I really liked for Yanto is you got to see him be really dark, and it was just for a brief moment.
As fast as I can. Pray they survive.
And I don't know if it was kind of intentional, because obviously in the next episode you see a kind of darker Yanto that wasn't intended to obviously be that, but it ended up happening because of, well, stuff that I will talk about in next week's review. But I think the little bit of darkness is quite unnerving and unsettling from Yanto, because you've always seen him as this kind of polite, uptight person, wearing a suit and making coffee and all this kind of stuff. And, he's so disgusted by everything that he is seeing in this one that he literally puts a stun gun to someone's head that, in reality, probably should have killed the guy. We've seen and heard reports of people getting tasered by the police and, it causing an unintended death. So the fact that he's putting an actual stun gun literally right in the forehead, pretty much right by the skull and their brain, I'm shocked that he didn't kill him personally. I think that would have been an interesting one if they had kind of gone down that route. That would have been an interesting arc for Yanto's character, but I really liked that moment for him. The other big thing that we had in this episode was kind of, again, a sort of, well, this was really, I think, the real first proper setup in season 2 for the kind of romantic subplot between Owen and Tosh. Now, I've mentioned about the subplot that I hate between Jack and Gwen. I think that is stupid and ridiculous and pointless that they keep doing it, even to the point in this one when Rhys finds out and he's in the hub and Gwen kisses him, and then you have that moment where her eyes like flick up and she's looking at Jack in a weird way. I'm like, why again are you doing this? It makes no sense. It baffles me and it just annoys me. But Owen and Tosh, this one is one I get behind, because I get it. I get that Tosh, obviously, she, I believe at this point, has been working with Torchwood for almost 5 years. and Owen has been working there for about 3. So they've known each other a long time, and it's very clear that Tosh has, been one of those people that really loves him from afar, and it's so unique to their characters. Not unique. Unique's probably not the right word, but it's so true to their characters that when Toshiko finally after all of these years plucks up the courage to ask Owen out on a date because she knows that it ain't going to go the other way. She has to take the lead. The fact that Owen completely misreads the situation, that is really true to their characters. And I love them too as a pairing. Some people don't like the idea of them as a pairing. And of course, after what happens in the season 2 finale, which we will get there, we'll definitely get there. I think it would have been really interesting to see where the relationship for Owen and Tosh could have gone. I would have found that really, really interesting. But of course, we have to talk about the main kind of thing with this episode. Rhys finds out about Torchwood.
The special ops thing, it's a liar cover story.
Thank you! At last! God, what's that taken? About a year? So that's one lie down. How many more we got to deal with, eh? Is there anything you like that's actually based on truth?
Us.
Us! Us! Us is crumbling when us is falling to
I
shit.
think I enjoy keeping all this stuff to myself.
Then why did you?
Because I'm trying to protect you! Have you ever stopped to think about that? No! No, because you prefer to blunder in without thinking or looking. Good old ham-fisted Rhys. His heart is in the right place, but his brain is a million miles fucking back.
Come on, let's have it all in, shall we, eh? What exactly do I need protecting from?
I catch aliens.
Piss off.
No, you piss off. It's the
If you're not going to take it
This
seriously...
is why I couldn't tell you, because I hunt down aliens and I scavenge the stuff they leave behind. And sometimes I don't believe it myself.
What's got into you? Have you been brainwashed? Is that it, yeah? Is that what's happened? Because you are talking some high-grade shit here, huh?
Every word is the truth.
Now, first off, while I remember it, and for me adding in this clip for the footage, for the video, one thing I hated with this episode is the whole insane amount of shaky camera footage where the cameras go all over the place. It makes me feel quite nauseous and nauseated watching it. Like, I get from a filmmaking perspective, I kind of get what they were going for, particularly in the scene in the flat between Rhys and Gwen, because it is a raw scene. It is a really raw scene. There's a lot of anger, there's a lot of frustration. It's bouncing backwards and forwards, and I think when you're in that moment, if you're having a real blazing row in the manner that these guys are having, like, it would feel a little bit odd to have just a kind of a steady focused camera, because it's in real life, like, imagine that there was the one that you are literally going to be going backwards and forwards. The problem is, I think it was just done too much, and like I said, it just, I felt a bit ill watching it, so yeah, that, if I had been directing it, I would have said, okay, do a bit of shaky cam, but really lower down the levels. So, minor nitpick there. But the actual crux of the matter, Rhys finds out. And this has been building to this point all throughout season 1. And I'd still think back to Combat, the episode in season 1, where Gwen told Rhys that she had slept with Owen. I still feel that they should have had Gwen tell Rhys. But I wish he had known and remembered it, and that Gwen hadn't retconned him, because that would have lent so much additional weight to this scene. You know, because of course it's not only that she shagged someone else, that she cheated on her. Well, at that time it was just a boyfriend, you know, future fiance. Is the fact that she has been lying. And okay, like I get that. If I was Gwen in that situation, I wouldn't know how I would tell Rhys either. I like how can you explain it? Like it was hard enough for Gwen to understand it. And if she can get away with not telling him and protecting him, I think she's going to try and do that. But ultimately, their relationship is on the brink of collapse. And that is because of a lack of communication. And I love the raw emotion within this argument scene. It just is fantastic, particularly from Kai Owen. I thought, you know, he played it with just the right amount of anger to it that wasn't bordering as being over the top. It very easily could have been, and it was so close, but I think he absolutely nailed it for that scene. And then, of course, you have all the beef then going out through the rest of the episode, when they're back in the hub, in the meeting room, and they're kind of having that. And, of course, it makes the team feel very uncomfortable that they're suddenly in the middle of this domestic. And maybe that's why Owen doesn't want to get into the relationship, because he's seen what can happen here, and yeah, he doesn't want to fall into that trap. Not that I think that Toshiko would ever be like that, but you know what Owen's like, particularly at this point. But yeah, it was so good, and I like the dynamic between Rhys and Jack. That was absolutely fantastic. I think it's really, I mean, other than the kind of season 1 finale, this is the first time you've ever really had anyone like stand up to him, like from the get-go, pretty much. And okay, maybe there's the element of Rhys and the frustration, as I think any guy would be, because of the whole pheromones thing of Jack. He's basically flirtatious. I don't think that Rhys would find him attractive and want to be with him, but he would probably sense those pheromones and would probably, know enough to think, oh, maybe Gwen could be, enticed by Jack. You never know. Yeah, I just think this is a fantastic episode. And then, of course, you have the culmination of it. I love that Rhys just instinctively wanted to protect Gwen. I think it very easily could have been the other way round, and it wouldn't have lent anything, because we know that Gwen is brave and she would do anything to protect Rhys, but this is the point. This is a tester for Rhys, if you like. It's a chance for him to prove himself that he's not just a great blundering oaf, and he can actually contribute and protect his his wife, or his future wife. So I just absolutely love that. I like the fact that you had the sort of vet guy. I like the fact that, despite him, kind of being nice, and he was being sympathetic to, the cash cow or the star whale, or, whatever you want to call it. Despite, being sent there and being, he's still a part of this operation, and he's still getting a lot of money for causing untold misery to this creature. So it was quite satisfying, I think, when Yanto burst in and kind of zapped him as well. But that whole final segment, this is where the episode really kind of hit me the most emotionally. And I kind of mentioned it in the cold open. It's the design of the thing. It was hard because obviously you had to make it sort of believable that it could be a sea-dwelling creature, and it was humongous, and so of course you had to make it CGI, and it hasn't aged well. When you're looking at it, nearly 20 years down the line, it hasn't aged well for the CGI effects. particularly at the little bit where you see the guy and what is very clearly kind of a little green screen bit, and he's going in and he's chopping up the whale or whatever you want to call it. It looks very awkward now, but despite it being a very, for lack of a better word, clumsy depiction of the creature and the look of it, the sound design for it and the cries that it was kind of making, I truly believe that that was a real creature. And the music that's just going over the top.
What have they done to you, my poor friend?
The music in this episode is just wonderful at really kicking you in the balls with the emotional weight of this episode. You have a lot of really good ones with the sort of the actiony stuff, but it's always the sad bits and the softer bits that, you know, really hit home with the scenes. And I thought it was brilliant. That's just my rambling review of the episode Meets, the 4th episode of the 2nd season of Torchwood. What did you think? Please drop your comments down below. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. There's a lot of people watching my videos but not actually subscribing. Like, I think it's like only like 1 in 5 people are actually subscribing. So please do. You know, I'd love to have you continue on this journey with me. I do, obviously, Doctor Who. I do my Torchwood stuff. I've done loads of the reactions to stuff. Loads of stuff on the channel. You know, you can check it all out. But until next time, my name's Kevin. I'm a geek, and you've been watching Kevin the Geek. Goodbye.